Essa próxima palestra, o nosso tema é Centro de Competência Brasil, Alemanha em Hidrogênio Verde. Conheça, por favor, o nosso palestrante.
Então, bom dia a todos.
Good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here.
Um pouco sobre a visão da Alemanha.
Let's talk about Germany's vision in terms of green hydrogen.
Eu acho que a gente já ouviu
We heard yesterday a lot about the generation of green hydrogen. What does this mean for Ceará, for Brazil? I want to talk a little bit about a different vision, a vision from Germany as an off-taker, consumption, if you will. And where Germany is currently with the war in Ukraine, many things have changed.
Mas também falar sobre
to talk a little bit about this issue of how we are now. I mean, we see in the state of Ceará, I mean all of Brazil really, many people focusing on production. If we don't stimulate consumption, then no one will be able to produce any green hydrogen. And so I have a couple of slides here that I would like.
Além de mostrar o que nós fizemos nos últimos tempos e para que ou onde nós podemos ajudar.
Anyway, how we could help all of you and this whole market. So
começar rapidamente.
Let's start quickly
dar uma olhada nesse
slide aqui que mostra this slide here that shows how countries are positioning themselves currently in terms of this challenge to implement green hydrogen. Last year, when I showed this slide, it was quite empty, you know, and now we can see more and more countries coming up with their own roadmaps, their own strategies. So, Brazil is still
se encontrar nessa discussão,
finding itself within this discussion.
Por isso deixei ainda lá ponto.
That's why there is still
mas também como comentário
a question mark there.
É muito importante que país ter a sua estratégia de
Brazil having its green hydrogen strategy well developed. So, for example, when we talk about green ammonia, we hear a lot about using green ammonia as transportation to Europe, but at the same time, we see that we need green ammonia internally for the production of fertilizers. I mean, Brazil depends a lot on fertilizers, even from other countries, Russia, Ukraine. And so once again, I believe that Brazil should think, you know, what to do with green ammonia. Are we going to use this to produce, to export, or are we going to produce to safeguard the production of national fertilizers and for agribusiness, amongst other things? And so these are some issues. The government, besides showing how they want to stimulate this, the government also needs to look and define everything in this sense. Now, when we look at this issue, I use the same layout of the slide to show a little bit what we've done since 2019. We were one of the first to start talking about green hydrogen. You know, yesterday I was watching, and Monica is playing an important role in all of this, working in Green Hydrogen Lab, you know, with the first people, the first network, created the first network about this topic, and then many things were created, a study
setor
to map the sector in Brazil only in green hydrogen to show the government how industry is positioning itself. This was 2020. Furthermore, together with many of our colleagues, we had many events.
Já agora vai estar este ano na terceira edição. E no meado de 2021, começou um programa do governo alemão que chamado H2
German program called H2 Brazil. This program is very important.
Tem uma importância.
There is extreme importance regarding green hydrogen. It's, investments from the German government
milhões de euros para fomentar
to
a implementação
implement
do mercado e a economia
the market and the green hydrogen economy in Brazil. And so I'm going to skip a couple of slides here just to show this program consists in 5 pillars. The first pillar is regulation, where we're doing studies to help the government to define some rules, how to implement, how to position ourselves. And the second pillar is dissemination. And here, HK is also working in this pillar of dissemination. It means to take this idea of green hydrogen to the general public. So through delegations, through events, through trainings, and some other activities. Furthermore, the third pillar is capacity building in human resources, heavy investments to train people, to educate people to work with green hydrogen, how to handle it, etc. The fourth pillar, I'm going to talk a little bit more about later, innovation. Through innovation, we want to have green hydrogen in the innovation ecosystem.
Porque ali a gente vai começar a movimentar, digamos, uma parte da sociedade que é
part of society that's quite interested.
Ideias inovativas. E o quinto é a expansão do mercado. Na verdade, o que está por trás disso é um projeto piloto que já foi cedido
and a pilot project
para a Unifei em
Unifei.
Então, esse que é o projeto de H2
This is the H2 project in Brazil.
Então,
so, going back a little bit to the normal rule.
Da apresentação. Então, dentro desse programa,
so within this program, we launched in May of last year, we launched Green Hydrogen Portal. The main goal is to be a center of information about this in Brazil. There you will find a lot of information on green hydrogen, events, activities, national and international activities, and meetings where companies can register that want to work with green hydrogen if they have something to offer, and other companies that are seeking partners.
Sem custo nenhum. Então,
this is
para estimular
for free.
Dentro do programa H2 Brasil,
in the H2 Brazil program,
esse portal agora vai passar por
this portal is going to be reviewed and to update the news and everything. So until the end of the year, we're going to have a new portal, a better portal. It's good, but it's going to be a lot better.
Vamos falar pouquinho sobre
Let's talk a little bit about
da inovação.
Innovation.
Essa questão da inovação,
this issue of innovation,
trabalha com 3 pilares.
We work with 3 pillars.
No pilar de startups.
With startups.
Ela trabalha no pilar de o que a gente chama de entusiastas.
Enthusiasts. And R&D.
E nós começamos com esse trabalho no início do ano, já fizemos uma chamada.
And so the idea was 3 calls in each of these pillars, and so some of the results
como o tema de hidrogênio verde está sendo percebido
and how green hydrogen is being seen in society or in the ecosystem of innovation. So we'll talk about enthusiasts and those that are interested in developing new ideas in terms of green hydrogen. And, you know, just have an idea. If you want to create ideas together with us about production and distribution,
fiquem à vontade. Então, a gente recebeu 92 inscrições, e aqui vocês podem ver de diferentes pessoas, empreendedores, pessoas de marketing.
So, entrepreneurs, people from marketing.
Se autonomearam especialistas de hidrogênio, ou seja, que talvez já trabalham em universidades com isso e querem sair do mercado acadêmico e começar a fazer isso.
And so, there are 22 states that participated and 47 different cities, which was a major challenge to bring all of these people together. And we have 8 groups.
Junto com o nosso parceiro que está nos ajudando bastante, o PTI, o Parque Tecnológico de Itaipu. Então nós conseguimos
and so we were able to comprise 8 groups that are now going through an acceleration phase. They came up with an idea, and this idea is being accelerated
com todo o suporte necessário. Suporte de especialistas, especialistas,
you know, specialists, technicians, financial specialists, and what we're going to have are startups that will try to, you know, enter the market. On the other hand, our colleagues from São Paulo have been working also with startups. They received 23 registrations from different states that are already working in different markets.
Enxergaram uma possibilidade de pivotar a ideia, o produto que eles já têm, para o hidrogênio verde. Então, a mesma coisa também desses 23
same thing of these 23, they selected 8 startups that are also, you know, are in this phase now of acceleration.
E além disso, nós trabalhamos
and furthermore, working with research and development,
nós temos a possibilidade de ceder valor, uma ajuda de financiamento,
help with financing
e desenvolvimento, no valor cada instituição vai receber ou está recebendo
receiving 150,000 euros
de desenvolver ideias
in order to develop
e aqui também
ideas, and also some positive results. 17 proposals from 11 states. We did some intense work in analyzing these proposals, and at the end we selected, after this first round, 6 institutions that will receive these incentives. And so we're getting ready, we're getting prepared for the second round. Now also the second round is going to start now in August, so if anyone is feeling motivated to participate as a startup or as an enthusiast, welcome. Everything is going to come out in that green hydrogen website there. You have a call for projects, all of the necessary information, so it's worth looking into.
O tema já é muito interessante, e para essa chamada agora, nós vamos sair pouco dessa parte tecnológica.
And we're going to go from this technological part, and we want to come up with digital solutions for applications.
Como convencer empresas a investir no uso de hidrogênio verde? Como nós podemos ajudar as empresas
how we can help companies to do this,
como popularizar o
and how
acesso do consumidor, ou seja,
provide more access to consumers.
A ideia de hidrogênio
So
verde,
the idea of green hydrogen
o consumidor final.
to consumers.
Então, vamos ver, talvez eu espero que alguma ideia disruptiva possa sair daí e alguém vai ficar rico.
Somebody will become very wealthy with this idea. I don't know.
Bom,
Anyway,
trazendo pouco uma visão da
talking a little bit about the German vision and green hydrogen.
Essa guerra da Ucrânia, a
Everyone
Alemanha tinha plano como fazer essa transição com temas, e aí aconteceu essa guerra da Ucrânia que
and then this war with Ukraine
trouxe algumas turbulências,
that
digamos,
brought about some turbulence, let's say,
segurança energética da Alemanha. Então,
and energy security.
Não precisa muito entrar nesses detalhes, mas aquele gás da Rússia está
So the Russian natural gas
sendo reduzido e a gente precisa agora tomar algumas atividades muito urgentes.
and now we need to be very careful
Então,
with everything that's
ao
going
mesmo
on.
tempo,
So at the
isso
same
tem
time,
aspecto que eu acho que é importante
there is
para
an important
olhar para
aspect
isso
that
e
we need
ver
to look
quais são os
at.
resultados depois para o Brasil. Então, o aumento de gás
So
natural,
the
a
increase
explosão
of
de gás
natural
natural,
gas,
está trazendo agora a questão
and the issue now is
do hidrogênio verde. O
green
hidrogênio verde
hydrogen
já está começando a se tornar mais competitivo perante
becoming
o
more
hidrogênio
competitive
que usa gás natural como
and
fonte.
those that use natural
Então,
gas
isso já é
as a
bastante
source.
interessante.
This is extremely
E essa
interesting,
pressão,
and this pressure,
esse aumento de gás natural,
increase
está
of
trazendo
natural
uma
gas,
pressão bastante grande para fazer uma transição energética para as indústrias,
and also for industry, especially the steel industry and chemical industry.
Uma necessidade de alto consumo de gás, e essa transição indo para o gás natural, para o hidrogênio verde, é cada vez maior. Essa pressão é cada vez maior. Mas além disso, quando a gente olha
But
para
furthermore, when we
países
look at
que
countries,
podem ser
that
fornecedores
could be
de
potential
hidrogênio verde,
suppliers
como
of green
África,
hydrogen, like in
uma
northern
coisa
Africa,
mais próximo da Europa, aí a
closer
gente
to Europe,
tá
and then
enfrentando agora, esses
we're
países estão sendo
these countries
enfrentados com uma instabilidade
are going
altíssima
through food
por
instability,
causa dessa
if you
guerra
will,
da Ucrânia.
because
Então
of the
isso
war
pode trazer uma instabilidade
in Ukraine.
também
So
de
that could bring
fornecimento
about
de gás,
instability
de hidrogênio para eles. Então, olhando
for
cada
them,
vez
and
mais para
so,
países que não
looking
têm
more
essa
at countries that
instabilidade.
perhaps don't have this instability.
E claro,
And of course,
quando não tinha guerra, ou
when there
a
was,
Alemanha, ou
we didn't
a
have the
Europa
war,
pensou em muitas regras,
Europe thought about many rules
compliance,
in terms of
como
compliance,
qualificar os fornecedores, os
qualifying
países, e tudo isso está tudo agora em xeque.
suppliers and countries,
A Alemanha está querendo comprar gás natural,
purchasing natural
Qatar,
gas from Qatar,
tá
for
sendo
example.
discutido,
That's being
mas é uma
widely
necessidade.
discussed.
Então,
So,
tudo esse conjunto de atividades
this
é
set
bastante
of activities
interessante
is really
e
interesting.
cada vez mais está trazendo, digamos, olhar para o Brasil.
And,
E existe
looking
instituto
at Brazil, and there's an institute
ciência e política
of science
que recomendou
and,
seus passos para a Alemanha contornar essa situação.
policies to try and get around that.
Primeiro, priorizar os projetos de infraestrutura para o hidrogênio verde, para esse backbone, para criar isso, a criação de parceiras energéticas, para assegurar esse fornecimento de hidrogênio verde, aí talvez
Safeguard green
para fazer
hydrogen.
uma coisa rápida, mas ao mesmo tempo também olhar
at the
no
same
longo prazo
time,
e fazer
looking
isso
at
com
the
outros
long
países, digamos,
term.
talvez um pouco mais distante, como o Brasil, Chile, Austrália, algumas coisas assim. Então, cuidar
So, taking care
essa parte também.
of this part as well.
Realização do programa H2 Global, a gente ouviu isso
H2
já,
Global program
no outro painel
that we heard in another
nós vamos ouvir
panel.
isso, eu acho que hoje ainda, logo depois da minha apresentação. Ajuda financeira para essa transição energética,
Financial
para essas
help
empresas que querem fazer
for
essa transição
companies that
energética.
want to go through
E no
this
final também,
transition, and at the end,
o hidrogênio é um programa de recuperação da Ucrânia.
it's a
Isso
recovery
agora não tem
program
nada a ver com
also
o
for the
Brasil,
Ukraine, and
mas,
has nothing to do with Brazil,
os outros
but
5 pontos eu acho que é
the other
bastante
points I
significativo
think are
também
quite
para o
significant for Brazil.
Então, o Brasil
So,
a Alemanha
Brazil or
oferece
Germany
vários
offers
instrumentos de
many
financiamento, de ajudar,
funding
além de
instruments
H2 Brasil, que eu já falei.
besides H2 Brazil that I talked about.
Ainda tem tempo. Né? Opa, eu estou quase acabando.
But anyway,
Bom, então vou passar rapidamente. H2 Global não vou
H2
tocar
Global.
muito. Existe funding guideline.
There is a funding
também
guideline
de incentivo de
for incentives for investments,
e o programa de H2A,
and the
que eu acho que
H2
bastante
program,
interessante,
which is
porque é
really
um
quite
programa
interesting.
relativamente novo,
It's quite a new
que
program,
vê realmente para
and that is here
empresas
for
em-
companies or
países em
countries,
desenvolvimento,
developing countries,
ajudar eles
to help them
pesquisas,
with research, with studies, feasibility studies, and all of that. And we're negotiating to be the hub for this H2Up program. Well, I've shown this. Let's talk quickly about off-taking.
Então vamos falar pouco
aproveitar
esse tempo para falar sobre off-taking.
About off-taking, this issue of off-taking, when we look at Brazil, McKinsey study showed this clearly. Very interesting. First, we have an international market here in Ceará that we hear a lot about, $4 to $6 billion, but we have a market almost 3 times larger, a domestic market.
É a geração de hidrogênio verde e uso
green hydrogen and the use of green hydrogen in applications, for example, in the generation of steel, in the production of ammonia,
em refinarias, para o transporte e outros
and transportation and other applications. And so we can use green hydrogen for decarbonization here in Brazil and to have these products produced for export, because the major problem in hydrogen, and so if we're able to transform this into green products, then to transport is easier. And there is a huge potential.
E aqui mais uma vez como o Brasil se coloca nessa questão. Quando a gente olha para
positions itself, when we look at the Northeast,
o Nordeste em geral, consegue pela situação geográfica realmente focar bastante nessa questão
de exportação. On exports and,
por exemplo, certificados internacionais,
international certification, with the European market, U.S. market, and the national market,
ela consegue ser
perhaps can be supplied
pelas regiões centro-oeste
by different regions in Brazil. We have,
de biomassa,
biomass, or
através disso, uma geração de hidrogênio bastante grande. E nós temos uma
products and
a questão de certificação disso também ainda precisa ser falado disso, mas nós temos um programa Renova Bio aqui no Brasil.
We have the Renova Bio program in Brazil, which is already quite advanced and can be used for such a purpose. Some observations before we get to the end. Some observations about this off-taking market. What we spoke in the discussion, money for investments is not a problem. The problem is off-taking. The problem are long-term contracts to absorb the hydrogen that's produced. And so, for investments, no problem. The current bottleneck is this. Otherwise, the business case is not feasible.
Ele traz uma certa limitação porque
there's a certain limitation. It's highly regulated.
Mas ele está definindo as regras, digamos, de primeira via. Mas a gente acredita que também vai se estabelecer um mercado livre
and to establish a free market in parallel, where companies will negotiate with other companies. Of course, thinking about certification, but it will no longer be the government, the German government, buying and reselling, but the market between companies. So I believe that we at AHK Rio, we live from this bridge between German companies, European companies, and we can help with this interconnection. We're already receiving some calls. And so I think it's up to us to use this more and more. It's a regulated market, free market. They'll have their own rules, but both will develop in parallel. So, once we finish the presentation, all of this, I think AHK Rio is really a center of competency that we're going to develop more and more here. So, we want to gather technical knowledge that we have and also market know-how to help German international companies to do business.
Construir junto realmente essa economia com menos carbono e mais sustentabilidade. E para isso a gente trabalha em
we're going to work with studies, events,
inovação, treinamento também, matchmaking, eu acho que é
matchmaking, I think, is something important that we're going to develop more and more. So, you know,
apelo, vocês estão convidados a usar esse conhecimento, esse centro de competência,
this knowledge, this competency center of HK Rio, to work with green hydrogen and to not only take this to Ceará, but to all of Brazil. Thank you very much for your attention.
Muito obrigada, Ansgar.
Thank you, Ansgar. It's wonderful. We have two questions here. We have 5 minutes and we have 2 questions. Okay, so let's get to it. The first question is, do you believe that this delicate moment with the war in Ukraine, this could in one way or another delay advancements in green hydrogen in Brazil?
Eu acredito que não.
I don't think so. I think much on the contrary. Like I showed, you know, the war in Ukraine shows that Germany perhaps has taken the wrong course, concentrated too much on one supplier, and this supplier is now creating problems. And so we need to diversify the sources and also energy transition. So looking at other countries and green hydrogen. So I think this is going to accelerate more and more. Okay, thank you. The last question, what is your perception regarding the European decision to include natural gas and nuclear power in the energy transition program? Well, I was actually already expecting that question. We see this in the media a lot, and it's a political issue, you know. It's a political issue and financial as well, because in the case of nuclear energy, of course, France has 80-90% supply of energy through nuclear energy and want to continue receiving funding. And there is a category, if you will, about energy investment funds, renewable investment funds.
Incluir energia nuclear que
and so in principle
pode ser considerado
it could be considered
CO2, mas tem outros efeitos
in this way
que eu acredito que são piores do que isso. Então houve esse esforço, houve
so
político
there was a political movement to include all of this. Natural gas is the same thing.
Fez esse movimento com gás natural. Então a gente precisa esse gás natural como uma fonte transitória para isto. Então não são fontes
renováveis
no sentido, digamos, clássico. Mas é movimento político.
It's a political movement, nothing more than really a political
movement. Muito obrigada.
Movement.
Terminamos por
Thank
aqui.
You very much.
Sempre será muito bem-vindo, tá? E obrigada. Salve de palmas, pessoal.
Round of applause, please. Obrigado. Thank you.